Now the story of THF Babo is pretty interesting and crazy all at the same time. I always want to do a story on THF Babo but never got the chance to, and I think his story just goes to show you that no matter who you are, what you did in the street, no matter what happens in life, you could be touched. Simple as that. I say that because Babo has been known as an outstanding member whose reputation exceeds him when it's alleged that he's had a couple of bodies under his belt. Now whether that's true or not is just the street speculation. I don't know what it is about Chicago, but Babo is one of the few guys in Chicago, or should I say many, that was shot and unalive as they was leaving county jail, and it's obvious that whoever is brave enough to take that much of a risk to take somebody's life coming out of jail just have no respect for the law at all. If y'all remember, there was KTS Dre, who was literally shot coming outside of the county jail over 60 times, and to this day, nobody has been caught and charged for his life being taken. Babo was similar because his life was taken, as they say, just 30 minutes from leaving jail, as they even have a picture of his last moments before leaving the jail facility where they last saw him alive. According to reports, Babo posted bond as he was being charged with an M or attempted M, something like that. But then after he left the jail just 30 minutes later, gunmen would target the vehicle that he was in as they would shoot multiple rounds into it. The side Babo was sitting on was struck 24 times, and Babo was hit 19 out of those 24 times. It's not sure if he was followed because word got out that he was bonding out, but that's been a very common thing amongst people in Chicago. This is why a lot of guys learn to not tell others when they're bailing or bonding out, because word can get to the wrong person and suddenly the ops have your location and know when you're being released, and they just gotta sit and wait for you. Some speculate that guys in there find out when an individual was coming home, quickly phone home to one of their people and alert them, and then the rest is history. Now there's videos explaining who Babo is and the things he's been accused of, but today we're going to focus on the night he lost his life bailing out of jail. Shout out to Factual Crime. As y'all know, we like to pick up and coming YouTube channels on a grind to react to so it could bring traction to their YouTubes as we use their videos. So I'll leave a link pinned in the comments below just in case you guys like their video or just want to support or just watch it straight through without hearing me talk over it. So we're going to get into the video, but before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
Chicago, a city renowned for its vibrant culture, also harbors a darker side where unimaginable incidents unfold regularly. With a staggering number of murders remaining unsolved, the unpredictability of life in the city becomes starkly evident. As 40-year-old Sorrel Marshall and a 20-year-old woman walked back to his apartment, little did they know their evening would take a terrifying turn. The quiet night was shattered by the sudden appearance of a gray sedan, its occupants radiating an aura of menace. Among them were three figures: Terrence Hogan, Khalil Powell, and Kamari Belmont.
Now remember that name, Kamari Belmont. Kamari Belmont is THF Babo.
Better known as THF Babo.
Babo, I said Bobo.
With alarming speed, Hogan and Belmont sprang from the vehicle, their intentions clear and malevolent. A gun materialized, as the two men wasted no time in targeting the woman's belongings. Her and Marshall were held at the mercy of the robbers. Bold and unflinching, Belmont rifled through the woman's coat pockets, snatching valuables with callous efficiency. An iPhone, a charger, an Old Navy credit card, and wallet, all seized in an instant, leaving the victim stunned and vulnerable. Meanwhile, Terrence Hogan brandished the semi-automatic pistol, its menacing presence a stark warning to Marshall, daring him to resist. Yet, in the face of danger, Marshall found himself at a crossroads. Pride warred with reason as he weighed his options, the pressure of the moment bearing down upon him. In a fateful instant, he made a decision that would alter the course of the encounter. Marshall found himself outnumbered and unarmed, facing the ominous threat of the semi-automatic pistol wielded by Terrence Hogan. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Marshall's instincts kicked in, and he moved to push the pistol away in a desperate attempt to defend himself. However, his efforts were met with swift and deadly force as Terrence Hogan pulled the trigger without hesitation. The crack of gunfire shattered the night air, and Marshall felt searing pain as bullets tore through his groin and leg. The sheer brutality of the attack left him reeling, his body racked with agony. An autopsy later revealed the extent of the damage. Marshall had been struck 6 times, each bullet a testament to the ruthlessness of his assailants. As Marshall lay wounded and bleeding, his attackers wasted no time in fleeing the scene, their failed robbery attempt leaving chaos and destruction in its wake. Khalil Powell sprang into action as the designated getaway driver, his foot heavy on the accelerator as they made their escape in the gray sedan. But Marshall was not about to become just another statistic. Fueled by sheer determination, anger, and a primal urge to survive, he defied the odds and rose to his feet, his body trembling with pain but his spirit unbroken. In a moment of sheer defiance, he hurled himself onto the hood of the fleeing car, trying to stop his attackers. However, his bravery was met with further violence as Terrence Hogan, cold and remorseless, shot him a final time. Marshall slid from the hood, his strength waning but his will to live burning bright. The following hours were a blur of pain and uncertainty as Marshall fought for his life in the cold confines of the hospital. Surgeons worked tirelessly to repair the damage wrought by the merciless assault, but despite their best efforts, Marshall's injuries proved too severe to overcome. Yet, against all odds, Marshall had managed to cling to life with a tenacity that defied comprehension. He was a fighter, surviving the night, and unlike many shooting victims, he lived another 3 weeks. He battled with every fiber of his being, a testament to his strong human spirit. But ultimately, the wounds inflicted upon him proved insurmountable, and Marshall slipped away, his untimely demise a grim reminder of the senseless violence that plagued Chicago streets. As the night of terror unfolded, the trio of criminals seemed—
Let me tell y'all something, and this is something I see a lot, right? A lot of guys got pride. I get it. You don't want to be robbed. You don't want people to come back and say you got robbed, you was a victim. I know sometimes our pride can get the best of us. But for any of y'all that's out there, please know this, right? You could get a chain back, you can get a watch back, you get money back, you can get a car back. You cannot get a life back. If somebody kill you during a robbery, you can't get that back. You see what I'm saying? You cannot get your life back. So what I'm saying is this: a lot of times I see a lot of people say they willing to die over their chain or die over this, or somebody gonna have to kill me if they want to take this. Why? Why? Right? You can get all the materialistic things back. You cannot get a redo on life. And this guy right here was shot literally 6 times and then a total of 7 because he jumped on the car. But had he would have just gave up whatever it was they wanted, and 9 times out of 10 he probably didn't even have much. You know, no disrespect, but he probably didn't even have much, and he decided to fight back, and in return he got shot 6 times. And then the 7th time, and then he died 3 weeks later in the hospital. Crazy.
hell-bent on a path of chaos and destruction, their greed driving them to commit 2 more brazen robberies. In their relentless pursuit of small amounts of money, they callously victimized more people. With ruthless efficiency, Terrence Hogan and Kamari Belmont targeted unsuspecting individuals, seizing belongings from defenseless victims. They left a trail of fear and devastation in their wake. These subsequent robberies, occurring mere miles from the first, served as a chilling reminder of the criminal's audacity and lack of regard for human life. It became painfully evident.
Let me tell you another thing, man. Never crap where you sleep, right? Meaning, if you're gonna do any type of crime, don't do it anywhere near where you chill or anywhere near where you be. That's the easiest way to get caught, right? Don't ever take a crap in your own backyard. They say that all the time. And I could almost assure that, as we go along, they're gonna say that was one of the reasons why they got caught, because they was doing all type of robberies in the same vicinity of where they hung out or something. Watch.
Evident that the 3 perpetrators were operating with reckless abandon, unconcerned with the consequences. Their brazen acts of violence, committed in close proximity to one another, hinted at a disturbing disregard for the presence of law enforcement. Rather than retreating into the shadows after their initial botched robbery, they seemed emboldened by the chaos they had unleashed, driven by a dangerous combination of adrenaline and greed. Kamari Belmont leveled a revolver at a 38-year-old man. With ruthless efficiency.
Remember, Kamari Belmont is THF Babo. They're saying he put a gun to a 38-year-old man, stole his wallet and cell phone. The victim's 37-year-old companion, meanwhile, ran away screaming and was eventually able to flag down police. Wow. Wow, he got luck.
Efficiency, he pillaged the man's wallet and phone. But, during this robbery, the victim's companion managed to escape, fleeing down the street in a frenzied pursuit for help. In a stroke of luck, the victim stumbled upon a police car, heart still pounding with a mixture of fear and relief. With the aid of an iPhone app to track the stolen phone's location, the digital breadcrumbs resulted in the tracking of the robbers to the 500 block of West 43rd Street.
See?
With swift precision, officers were dispatched to apprehend the suspects. As they closed in on the suspect's sedan, tension hung thick in the air, every moment tense with the possibility.
The officers found the men eating inside a sedan and... Yo, so you mean to tell me they just committed an armed robbery took everything, and then went to go eat like nothing just happened. This is Chicago for you. And not just Chicago, you got a lot of people that just be careless, like carelessly just doing things like it's nothing. Imagine committing an armed robbery and just going back and eating in the car like it's nothing, like you didn't just do anything. But from what they are explaining, they saying that they ran down on 2 people. They had one victim and the other one got away. Luckily, when the other one got away, they found the police car and ended up telling them what happened, and they were able to trace back due to the iPhone that was taken from the other victim. See, I gotta remember too, this came at a time where a lot of people didn't even know that the iPhones was traceable. Y'all remember? A lot of people found out afterwards, when a lot of people was getting caught afterwards, but it was a time where nobody knew that the iPhone was able to be traceable like that, and they was keeping it on them, and that's how they was getting caught if you stole it, even if you found it.
Ability of violence. In a dramatic showdown, the trio of robbers emerged from the car, their faces twisted with defiance and desperation. Terrence Hogan, his hand clenched around a pistol, stared at the officers, his body language a testament to the danger that lurked within. But when confronted by the unwavering resolve of law enforcement, the facade of bravado crumbled, giving way to a frantic struggle for survival. In the chaos that ensued, Hogan made a reckless move, lunging at an officer with reckless abandon. In a heartbeat, the sound of gunfire shattered the stillness, the crack of bullets tearing through the air like thunder. Despite sustaining injuries to both his arm and chest, Hogan managed to evade capture, disappearing into the night. Yet, even in his absence, the evidence against him and his cohort seemed to mount, with victim belongings being found in the car. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Kamari Belmont and Khalil Powell were apprehended, their reign of terror brought to a decisive end. But for Terrence Hogan, he managed to evade capture for a short amount of time. Ultimately, he was arrested at a nearby hospital. As the wheels of justice began to turn,
See, that happens to a lot of people. We just did a story, I forgot the guy's name, but we just did a story on that where a guy was shot. One of the guys, O-Block Honcho, he's facing 20 plus years right now because he tried to rob a undercover cop as he got off of work. And when they tried to rob him, the guy, of course, he's an officer, so he's trained. He didn't give up whatever they wanted, without a fight. So what he did was he took out his weapon and then ended up firing. And even though Honcho struck him, he also struck Honcho 2 times. And of course, when you get hit, you don't want to bleed out. You start getting scared. You think you're about to lose your life. So you have to go to the hospital. And that's what happened. The only thing is, when you go to the hospital, the cops know exactly if they hit you, they know you got to go to the hospital. So they checking into every hospital to see if a guy came at a certain time, and whoever came at that time where they feel that the crime was going down or the shots was ringing off, that's who's going to be under investigation, and then that's how they get you. And that's what they did to Hogan.
The full extent of the trio's activities became painfully clear. A loaded 9mm handgun, its capacity for destruction chillingly evident, was discovered at the scene, a stark reminder of the deadly consequences of their actions. The fate of Kamari Belmont hung in the balance, a tangled web of bureaucratic missteps and legal maneuverings threatening to derail the pursuit of justice. Despite the gravity of the charges leveled against him, Belmont found himself at the center of a legal quagmire, one that would ultimately reshape the case. In a stunning turn of events, first-degree murder charges against Belmont were dropped, sending shockwaves through the halls of justice and leaving many questioning the integrity of the legal system. The reason? A glaring oversight on the part of Cook County prosecutors, whose mishandling of the case resulted in a missed deadline for trial, a blunder that would have far-reaching consequences. The crux of the matter lay in a state statute, which stipulated that a defendant in custody must be brought to trial within a specified time frame following a demand for trial. Belmont, exercising his legal rights, had made such a demand on April 15, 2016, setting the wheels of justice in motion. However, as many months passed and the case languished in legal limbo, it became apparent that crucial deadlines had been overlooked, casting doubt on the integrity of the entire proceedings. A litany of continuances, 12 in total, had been granted, stretching from May 2015 to January 2017, each one pushing the trial further into the murky depths of legal ambiguity. Cook County prosecutors, tasked with upholding the law, had faltered in their duty, with case mishandling paving the way for Belmont's unexpected freedom. Charges against Belmont were officially dropped, leaving him to face only the robbery charges that had initially landed him behind bars.
Hey, talk about luck. Talk about luck. And you know what's crazy? A lot of people get off of certain charges due to technicality. A situation like that, he got off because they missed the trial deadline. And little things like that really can get you off of certain charges. And you see, he was just charged with the robbery, and that don't carry nowhere near as much time as the M would. So he pretty much got off scot-free. For whatever reason, they didn't meet the trial date, whether it was evidence, whether it was witnesses, no matter what it was, they wasn't ready, and he was able to get off scot-free. Off an M charge, which is kind of rare. He definitely had a guardian angel on his side.
A palpable sense of injustice hung heavy in the air, as Belmont's fate remained uncertain amidst the swirling chaos of the legal system. A judge set his bond at $100,000 for the second robbery, a sum that had his friend post 10% to secure his release the following month. Yet, for Belmont, the taste of freedom was bittersweet, overshadowed by the looming specter of danger that lurked in the shadows. He was eager to make it to his daughter's birthday party. To those who knew him, Belmont was more than just a robber. He was a father, a friend, a neighbor, whose kindness and humor endeared him to those around him. But not everyone viewed him through the same lens, and as he prepared to return to society, dark forces conspired to ensure that his newfound freedom would be short-lived. Someone, it seemed, had other plans for Belmont, their motives shrouded in mystery and intrigue. As the countdown to his daughter's birthday party began, Belmont would find himself caught up in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The night of March 6, 2017, etched itself into the brutal history of Chicago's gang conflict.
You know, before we go forward, right, and I always tell y'all this, I know we see these guys in a certain light. I know we see them as people that take lives, just these grim reapers, whatever labels we give them, right? But y'all gotta remember, I know it sounds crazy, but these guys really be a different person to the people that know them closely, whether it's your mother, brother, whatever family member or close friend. From the outside looking in, they just look like evil, this and that. But these guys really be different people when it comes to the people that they actually love. They see them in a different light. And this is why when we see these people grieving and stuff like that, a lot of people, we say, well, we don't got no compassion for them because of what he or she did. But like I said, they don't know that side of them. So when you see somebody grieving, whatever, have a little compassion, I guess. That's up to y'all.
At 11:12 p.m., surveillance footage captured Kamari Belmont's departure from the confines of Cook County Jail. A fleeting glimpse of freedom cut short by the cruel hand of fate. As Belmont and his friend drove away from the jail complex in a blue sedan, little did they know that their journey would end in tragedy. Whilst at a red light mere moments from the jail complex, a white SUV pulled up alongside them, a harbinger of doom, its occupants concealed in the shadows of the night. With ruthless precision, two shooters unleashed a hail of gunfire from the driver's side and back seat, their intent clear and unmistakable. In a matter of seconds, Kamari Belmont's life was snuffed out, leaving behind a scene of carnage and despair. At 11:57 p.m., the Chicago Police Department descended upon the crime scene. They'd heard radio reports of at least two suspects, one wearing a black and red jacket, last being seen running down the street. The suspects had crashed their car, with the airbags having been deployed. Soon, CPD found Belmont lying lifeless in the street, his body riddled with multiple bullet wounds, a stark testament to the savageness of the attack. Upon interviewing the driver, it was learned that he had bailed when the shots rang out, deciding to hide in nearby bushes. Belmont had likely attempted to run as well, but had little chance of escape. As investigators worked the case, a chilling picture of the events began to emerge. 24 shell casings lay scattered around Belmont's body, each one a grim reminder of the violence that had unfolded. The blue sedan, its right passenger side perforated by 21 bullet holes, bore witness to the ferocity of the assault. Amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged in the form of eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence. Witnesses, though shaken by the ordeal, gave their perspectives of how everything played out. They recounted the chilling details of the attack, having seen the two cars pull parallel to each other at the traffic lights. Having witnesses was beneficial, as investigators could now work on gathering cellular data alongside DNA evidence, to begin piecing together who the suspects could be. Inside the crashed suspect car, items of forensic importance were discovered. These included things such as a credit card, partially smoked cigarettes, water bottles, a Red Bull can, and a .45 caliber blue steel Sig Sauer pistol near the driver's side door. Even a Samsung cell phone was located near to the wreckage. Investigators learned that the suspect car had been rented on March 3rd. As the investigation gathered momentum, the shadow of gang violence loomed large over the case. Belmont, a member of the 4-6 terror faction of the Gangster Disciples, had long been locked in a bitter feud with the 051 Young Money faction of the Mickey Cobras, a rivalry steeped in bloodshed and retribution. As suspects were identified and leads pursued, the case took on a life of its own, unfolding against the backdrop of Chicago's unforgiving streets. Desmond Green, David Ajay, Kendrick Dorsey, and Ricky Anderson, names synonymous with 051 Young Money, emerged as prime suspects in the investigation. Furthermore, CPD suspected that at least 3 men were in a tail car being used to provide support for the shooters. The driver of this tail car is widely believed to be a man named Kurt Mack. Mack, who was close with 051 Young Money, would himself become a victim of homicide on June 27, 2017. The paperwork description lines up with it being him who was driving the tail car. The other 2 tail car offenders are much less identifiable, with their ages being the only thing shown. Despite the seeming mountain of evidence amassed by law enforcement, justice has yet to be handed down in this case. This is mostly down to the eyewitnesses.
I don't get it. They got all these suspects and people they think did X, Y, and Z, but still to this day, nobody been caught for it.
Who suddenly became uncooperative. Let's face it, they are probably not going to take the stand against the suspects, pointing them out just to be labeled an informant or worse, risk the forever box. In a city where fear and intimidation thrives, the wheels of justice grounded to a halt, leaving Belmont's murder unsolved and his killers unpunished. Rest in peace to everyone mentioned in this video.
Yeah, so, I never understood this. I'm not gonna lie. This case was always interesting to me. Like I said, I wanted to do a video on it, but I never got the chance to. But the reason why it was interesting was because anytime somebody gets shot and unalive when they coming out of jail, it's just it's weird, right? It's like, how? Did somebody phone home? Did somebody know? Did somebody just happen to see him? Because they said that he got 30 minutes into him going home because he tried to meet or, get to his daughter's birthday party. Or just try to be in time for it, whatever the case may be. But how did that work? How was they able to shoot the whole car up, but the driver wasn't hit not once? You know what I'm saying? That reminds me of the YBC duel situation, the Philly guy, where he was in the back seat of the car. How they know he was in the back seat, to this day we don't know. How did they fire all them bullets into the car and nobody but him got hit? We don't know. You see what I'm saying? It's always weird, man. But like I said, this is an interesting story. I figured it'll be interesting for y'all. Shout out to Factual Crime. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this video here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. I'm out.